a bit about myself, really. I mean, I was diagnosed at a young age. I couldn't speak till I was 6, so I had to learn Macinton. But through the years, I was diagnosed with autism, OCD, ADHD, and then later on in life, I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I had my first epileptic fit while I was at college. Just happened. And it shocked my mum and dad, because they thought it was just me banging upstairs playing FIFA, and then they realised, oh no, our son's having a fit. Um, so it wasn't good for them. I think my mum found it incredibly hard because getting a diagnosis for her was tough. The average age for a diagnosis at the moment is 4 years old, and I think it does come down to what frustrates me the most is doctors are very don't want to give that diagnosis. They're very kind of lenient and don't want to label a child. But my problem with that is as soon as they label a child, they're very happy to prescribe them every medicine under the sun to fix the problem. When they should be looking at other things like CBT, meditation, yoga, all of those things that could actually help someone with autism and benefit them. And I think too many people are looking for a cure when it doesn't need to be cured. It just needs to be supported and understood and helped. And I think that's where a lot of people lack. So growing up for me, for example, when my mum was trying to get a diagnosis, they just turned around to my mum and said, no, he's not autistic, he's just naughty. And that was the reply. And, we're speaking at a time where, the Autism Act wasn't quite in yet either, because that came in 2009. And, this was 2002, I think I started school. Yeah, this was a time where it was a bit different. But throughout school, the main thing that I found hard was making friends. I was really bad at socializing, and I always found that I got on with people older than me, aka the teachers, rather than the students. Don't know why. I always seem to have more of an older head on me rather than someone my age, and I just did not know how to communicate with people. It was really tricky for me. And then I had the educational aspect as well, which I wasn't great at, was not the most academically bright at all. Um, and it was difficult growing up and just making friends because you want to try and fit in and you then end up masking and then all of this stuff. And at the same time, my mum thought it'd be best for me to go on ADHD medicine. And really, I always say to parents, I don't advise medicine to begin with. I think if you can do anything but medicine, it will be better because in the end, teachers would go, "Oh yeah, Max is calmed down a lot," but in reality, I was just doped up, and wasn't taking anything in, wasn't learning anything because I was basically a zombie, was not there. Um, then because I had a statement, which is now an educational health and care plan, I then went up to a school which all of my mates in primary school didn't go to. They had an ASD unit at the time, which is why I liked it earlier, because it's obviously ASC. But again, the language at the time, ASD unit, and then you had an LSU unit, which I always thought was silly because if anything, it put a big bullseye on the people with autism, basically let everyone know that those people from that unit have autism. And if you were an LSU unit, you had a learning support condition, but no one knew what it was. So for someone like me who just wanted to make friends because I'm Max and not that autistic person that comes from that unit, it was very difficult, because people knew what I had automatically, and I just spent 6 years trying to make friends, and then going to a mainstream secondary school with an ASD unit in there was tough. And after a little while I was there, they kicked me out. They couldn't support me in the way that I needed. And to be honest, I don't feel that they tried by any means. I saw a lot of people in the unit that got kicked out, and it just seemed to me that they wanted people with conditions who was doing well and didn't need as much support, and the people that did, unfortunately, got kicked out. Then went to a school in Oxfordshire, which was a SEN. It was told to me at the time it was an autistic school, but when I got there, it was people with complexity needs. You know, people had borderline personality disorder, they had PDA, they had OCD, they had ADHD, they had autism. Some people just went through traumatic experiences and were very angry individuals because of what happened. You know, and I will never use the term they were naughty because I don't believe in that. I think behavior can be naughty and behavior can be bad, but I don't believe in such a thing as a naughty or bad person. There's always a reason behind the behavior. So, I mean, at the school, they could positively handle, you know, they could restrain people, you know, because sometimes they become a danger to themselves or other people. And obviously, it was always horrible to see that, but there'd probably be 10 restraints a day. The classroom that's with 6 people, that'd probably be about 15 fights a day. Sometimes it did feel like being in a prison, but being innocent, because obviously I'm not an aggressive kind of person, and being around that was very hard. And obviously, it then hindered the education because if you've got a fight breaking out every 3 or 4 minutes, learning any educational skills can be very hard. As well as that, I wasn't academically bright anyway, so then having that on top was difficult. So when I left school, I didn't have any GCSEs. The school didn't offer them, but they did do some equivalent of um, GCSEs, which was just functional skills. But I ended up ringing some companies and got some work experience at an IT company. And I walked in day one. I thought I knew everything about IT, and I walked out that day and went, I know nothing about IT. But I was there for 6 weeks, really enjoyed it. It was going to take me on for an internship, but then they moved down to London, so I couldn't. Then went to college, didn't like it, felt the support was near to none. Um, you know, just not, again, no knowledge, no understanding of what it could be like for someone with autism who's especially gone from then a special send school to a main environment again was very hard, you know. And it's just simple things like, you know, you're going to be in different forms, you're going to be in different classrooms, it's getting to know people again. Have I remembered this? Have I remembered that? Do I need this? Do I need that? um, and you're working at a different level than whatever people are because they've gone to these other schools and the education has been better and the support might not have been, because I always praise the school for support. The support at that school was second to none, but just educationally, no fault of their own, just wasn't, it wasn't as good as what it could be. So I went to college, passed my course there, and then went to a company. Out of 300 people I applied, and they narrowed it down to 50. And then I had a interview there, and I took my work that I'd done at my work experience company, because I filled like 3 notebooks up of work when I was at my work experience company. And I got that just through ringing. I've searched again the internet, finding numbers, and I found the director of this company and persuaded him to do work experience for the first time. Um, so yeah, went to college, then got this job at, at a housing association. Again, applied out of 300 people, managed to get it, and I was on an apprenticeship. Then needed to pass maths, and it took me 7 times to pass maths, but I eventually done it. Around the same time, I started wanting to be an actor. So I said, well, get off your bum and do it then. So I'd done 2 plays in Newbury. And after I'd done those 2 plays, there was a show called Glue, and they were looking for extras. So I'd done that. And me being me, I went over the rope. There was a rope separating the actors and the extras. And me being me, I just went over the rope and pretended to be a main actor that was joining the show next week. and just there was a murder storyline going on. So I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. My character's a bit low key at the moment. Can't really tell you a lot, but yeah. And then I was asking who their agents were. Yeah, how do I get a new agent? Because in my in story in my head, I was just saying I got an agent. I'm looking to get another one. So they were suggesting people. And then while full time working, I emailed every casting director I could find. And one day I came home and I had one from the Holby City director. So I literally went to the audition and it was a main role, 13 scenes, and I got the part. And then from there, my acting career started. So off the back of that, I then got an agent who represents people with conditions. And I've been on Doctors twice. I've done adverts for Santander and Ford, all in main roles. And then I got the acting gig for the National Autistic Society, which was about employment. Because at the moment there's only 16% of people with autism in full-time work, and that's not changed for 10 years. And I think the biggest thing that is going to impact the autism community is obviously with COVID, people are losing jobs left, right, and centre. And if anything, that percentage that we've worked so hard trying to get up is going to come down. And that really disheartens me because it's a campaign I really worked hard on. And to know that those numbers are going to come down not only for the autism community but for everybody is just so disheartening. And they can't afford to come down, they just really can't, especially with things like PIP being cut from people that really need it, the government funding being cut which people really need. It's just diabolical, you know, it's shambolic really. But yeah, so once I started the acting as well, I then moved jobs. So I went on to a night shift job, and after a while, I found out it wasn't great for my health. I started getting quite ill, just because I was eating more and socialising wasn't as good as what it used to be. Feel free to add me on social media. I'd love to speak to everybody. And yeah, thank you for listening as well.